Unveiling the real story of Adam and Eve, a truth that will change everything. Unveiling the story of Adam and Eve through a new philosophical lens challenges the simplicity with which we've long understood this ancient narrative. From childhood Sunday school to scholarly theological discussions, we've come to accept a version of the story that seems straightforward. Adam, formed from dust, was given life by God, and Eve was created from his rib to be his companion. Together, they lived in the perfection of Eden, entrusted with its care, but forbidden from eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. When tempted by the serpent, Eve partook of the forbidden fruit and shared it with Adam. As a consequence, they became aware of their nakedness, experienced shame, and were cast out of paradise, bringing sin, death, and suffering into the human condition as we know it. It's a simple story, right? But what if this familiar version is only the beginning? What if there's a deeper, more profound truth hidden beneath the surface? One that not only reshapes our understanding of humanity's origin, but also transforms how we view our own spiritual journey and the nature of existence itself. Join us as we uncover the real story of Adam and Eve, a truth that will challenge everything you've ever thought about this timeless narrative. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more insights, and leave a comment below to share your thoughts on this philosophical exploration. 1. What's really behind the story? A deep dive into biblical texts. The story of Adam and Eve, at a surface level, may seem like a simple moral allegory about disobedience and its consequences. Yet, when explored through ancient texts and philosophical perspectives, including those from the Ethiopian Bible and the apocryphal Book of Jubilees, this narrative reveals a far more profound and intricate cosmological drama. This hidden depth invites a re-evaluation of divine purpose, human identity, and the tension between free will and predestination, transcending its commonly understood meaning. Adam's creation, often recounted as a humble beginning, from the dust of the earth, is frequently interpreted as a metaphor for human fragility and dependence on divine sustenance. However, a closer analysis of ancient scriptures opens up a richer, more nuanced perspective. The dust from which Adam was formed is not merely the soil beneath our feet. In the Ethiopian Bible and other apocryphal writings, this dust is imbued with divine energy, a symbol of God's creative power, not just a biological process. In these texts, Adam's creation is not a mere act of physical formation, but a moment of cosmic significance. He was crafted as more than the first man. He was the prototype of human potential, endowed with divine consciousness through the breath of God. This act was not simply the imparting of life, but the transmission of a divine intellect, moral reasoning, and spiritual capacity, positioning Adam as the spiritual forerunner of humanity. He symbolized humanity's potential to reflect divine attributes, reason, compassion, and justice, and his role extended beyond survival to that of a being tasked with moral responsibility. As for Eve, traditional narratives often cast her as the source of humanity's fall, yet this interpretation oversimplifies her role. In examining apocryphal writings and alternative translations, we find a much richer and empowering portrayal of Eve. Rather than being created merely as Adam's helper, she is presented as his equal, an integral part of the divine plan. Her creation from Adam's rib was not a gesture of subordination, but one of unity and equality, representing the shared human experience in the quest for knowledge and moral growth. In philosophical terms, Eve's actions in the garden can be viewed as humanity's first step toward intellectual and spiritual enlightenment. Her curiosity, often portrayed as sinful, takes on a new light when understood as the embodiment of the human drive to seek wisdom. The fruit she consumed symbolizes knowledge and the awakening of human consciousness. In this sense, Eve's decision was not a simple transgression, but a transformative act that opened the door to moral complexity and intellectual growth. What if the story of Eve is not about punishment, but a critical moment in humanity's development? Her choice symbolizes the human journey from innocence to experience, from ignorance to the pursuit of knowledge, and from passivity to the active engagement with moral and intellectual dilemmas. Her act becomes a metaphor for the necessity of choice in human growth, highlighting the intrinsic link between freedom and moral responsibility. The serpent, traditionally understood as a manifestation of evil and deception, also gains a new philosophical interpretation in this context. In many ancient texts, the serpent is not merely an evil force, but a symbol of duality, representing both the adversary and the agent of transformation. Its role in the story is crucial, not just as a deceiver, but as a provocateur, challenging Adam and Eve to confront their free will and take responsibility for their choices. From this perspective, the serpent's presence in the garden is not a random event, but a necessary part of the cosmic design. By tempting Adam and Eve, it forces them to make a choice, thus initiating the process of moral awakening. The fruit of knowledge, far from being merely forbidden, represents the capacity to distinguish between good and evil, marking the beginning of human moral consciousness. The serpent, in this light, becomes a catalyst for humanity's development, rather than a purely malevolent being. In philosophical terms, the serpent's role is essential for the unfolding of human consciousness. Without this provocation, Adam and Eve might have remained in a state of passive innocence, never confronting the full implications of free will. The story then shifts from a simple moral conflict between good and evil to a profound exploration of human autonomy, moral choice, and the inherent duality of existence. Thus, the narrative of Adam and Eve can be seen as a cosmic drama that goes far beyond a moral fable. It delves into the deepest aspects of human nature, the ability to connect with the divine, the struggle for knowledge, and the exercise of free will within the framework of a divine plan. The Garden of Eden becomes a symbolic space for the birth of human consciousness and moral agency, where the tension between divine predestination and human autonomy plays out in its most primal form. Through this philosophical lens, the story of Adam and Eve is not merely a tale of disobedience, but an invitation to explore the complexities of existence. It asks profound questions about human nature, the pursuit of wisdom, and the delicate balance between divine will and human freedom. In this deeper understanding, the story becomes not just a cautionary tale, but a reflection on the nature of human choice, the quest for knowledge, and the moral responsibility that comes with autonomy. The Garden of Eden becomes the birthplace of human moral consciousness, setting the stage for the continuing drama of human history and spiritual evolution. 2. How this real version of Adam and Eve's story changes our understanding of humanity. When we delve into the philosophical dimensions of the Adam and Eve story, we uncover profound truths that challenge the conventional interpretation of humanity's origins. At first glance, Adam and Eve might seem like the earliest humans, whose disobedience led to the loss of paradise. However, they are far more than mere figures in a biblical tale. They represent the archetypal human experience, reflecting the full spectrum of choice, freedom, and responsibility that define our existence. The story of their journey from innocence to awareness is not a tragedy of sin and punishment, but rather a crucial step in the evolution of humanity's moral and spiritual consciousness. Traditionally, the act of eating the fruit from the tree of knowledge is framed as a disastrous moment of defiance, which caused humanity's separation from God. But when we look more closely, particularly through the lens of ancient texts like the Ethiopian Bible and the Book of Jubilees, a deeper interpretation comes to light. This act of eating the fruit was not merely an act of disobedience, but a moment of awakening, an event that transformed Adam and Eve from innocent beings into morally aware individuals. It was this awakening that unlocked their ability to make choices, understand good and evil, and bear the weight of personal responsibility. The fruit from the tree of knowledge symbolizes the dual nature of wisdom. It offers enlightenment, but also brings with it the burden of moral consequence. Adam and Eve's decision to eat the fruit, then, was not just the introduction of sin into the world, but the beginning of humanity's journey toward self-awareness. Their expulsion from Eden was not a punishment for wrongdoing, but a necessary step in their evolution, allowing them to rise above a purely instinctual existence and enter a realm where moral choices and intellectual growth define what it means to be human. Their story also offers us a new perspective on freedom: Adam and Eve's choice to eat. The fruit represents humanity's first act of free will. Rather than viewing this act as a failure, we can see it as a moment of self-determination, a crucial exercise of autonomy that set the course for all of human history. Free will, as demonstrated in this narrative, is not a flaw or a curse, but the very essence of what makes us human. It gives us the ability to shape our own lives, to learn from our mistakes, and to pursue deeper spiritual truths. In this interpretation, the Garden of Eden becomes the setting for humanity's first step toward maturity. Before they ate the fruit, Adam and Eve lived in a state of innocence, unaware of the complexities of moral and intellectual life. Their expulsion from Eden marked the beginning of their journey into the world, where they could grow, learn, and evolve. The hardships and struggles they faced outside the garden were not punishments, but opportunities for spiritual development. This reimagining of the Adam and Eve story also shifts how we understand human nature. Rather than being inherently flawed or sinful because of their disobedience, we can see ourselves as beings on a path of growth and transformation. The story invites us to embrace the complexity of free will and the challenges that come with it. It shows us that the ability to make choices, to confront consequences, and to seek deeper understanding is not a curse, but a gift, one that allows us to grow closer to the divine. Adam and Eve's narrative, then, is a philosophical reflection on the human condition. It speaks to our capacity for both greatness and failure, for love and loss, for wisdom and moral struggle. Their journey mirrors our own. Each of us must navigate the tension between following divine guidance and exercising our own free will. The story serves as a reminder that, like them, we are called to grow and evolve in our understanding of both ourselves and the divine. Moreover, this philosophical reading of the Adam and Eve story elevates the concept of free will to a central theme. Traditionally, their defiance in the garden is seen as the misuse of free will, leading to humanity's downfall. But what if their decision to eat the fruit was, in fact, the very act that unlocked human potential. Free will, after all, is both a challenge and a gift. It allows us to choose our path and to grow from our mistakes. It is through these choices, even when they lead to suffering, that we become capable of love, sacrifice, and deeper moral insight. Adam and Eve's decision to eat the fruit becomes a pivotal moment in the human story, an act of self-determination that opened the door to human consciousness and moral agency. While it led to their expulsion from Eden, it also set the foundation for the entire human experience. It is this tension between divine guidance and personal autonomy that defines much of human life, and it is through this tension that we grow into beings capable of wisdom and spiritual connection. In this philosophical framework, the story of Adam and Eve is not one of tragedy, but of transformation. Their journey from Eden to the wider world represents humanity's own journey toward self-awareness and spiritual discovery. Rather than a story of condemnation, it is a story of hope, one that celebrates the human capacity to learn, to grow, and to seek out a deeper connection with the divine. It reminds us that our mistakes are not final, but part of the ongoing process of moral and spiritual evolution. This deeper understanding of the Adam and Eve story reshapes how we view human nature. We are not condemned to a life of sin because of their actions. Instead, we are beings with the potential for growth and transformation, capable of making choices that lead to deeper knowledge and a more profound connection to the divine. The story of Adam and Eve invites us to see our lives as part of this ongoing journey, one that began in the garden and continues with every choice we make. In this light, the story of Adam and Eve becomes a narrative of liberation. It shows us that we are not bound by the mistakes of the past, but are free to continue the journey they began, seeking knowledge, making choices, and growing in our understanding of the divine. Their story is a testament to the power of free will, the importance of moral growth, and the human capacity to evolve into beings of love, compassion, and wisdom. Through this lens, the story of Adam and Eve is not about humanity's fall, but about its rise, its first step toward becoming truly human. 3. The impact this truth can have on personal faith and the world. The implications of a deeper understanding of the Adam and Eve story extend far beyond the scope of traditional theological discussions, reaching into the realms of personal faith, human relationships, and our collective role in the world. By reframing their journey as one of growth and awakening, rather than mere disobedience and punishment, we open up new possibilities for understanding human nature and our place in the cosmos. This philosophical re-examination challenges established interpretations and offers a transformative lens through which we can reimagine faith, morality, and purpose. For centuries, the story of Adam and Eve has been used to underscore humanity's inherent flaws, often tied to the concept of original sin. The conventional narrative has imposed a sense of guilt and failure upon individuals, suggesting that humanity's existence is tainted by Adam and Eve's disobedience. This perspective casts a long shadow over personal faith, often creating an overwhelming burden of guilt and an ongoing need for redemption, fostering a belief that we are inherently flawed. However, when we reinterpret the story through a more philosophical lens, we uncover a more empowering narrative. Adam and Eve's actions are no longer seen as the cause of humanity's fall, but as the first steps in a journey of spiritual and moral evolution. Rather than being figures of failure, they become pioneers of human consciousness, representing our potential for growth self-awareness, and transformation. This shift in perspective allows us to view ourselves not as inherently sinful, but as capable of learning, evolving, and growing closer to the divine through our experiences. This new understanding can have a profound impact on personal faith. By viewing Adam and Eve's story as one of spiritual evolution, we begin to see our lives as opportunities for growth and enlightenment, rather than as a series of moral failings. The burden of guilt is lifted, replaced by an understanding that challenges and mistakes are an essential part of the human experience. Our journey, like Adam and Eve's, is one of discovery and awakening, where we are invited to learn from our choices and strive for deeper wisdom and connection with the divine. On a broader scale, this reinterpretation of Adam and Eve's story can reshape how we view humanity's role in the world. Traditionally, their narrative has been seen as the foundation for understanding human sinfulness, with the focus on seeking forgiveness for past mistakes. But if we consider their journey as one of spiritual growth, it suggests that our purpose is not merely to atone for sins, but to actively pursue higher levels of moral and spiritual consciousness. In this view, humanity is on a path of continuous evolution, seeking greater unity, compassion, and understanding, both with one another and with the divine. Adam and Eve's journey from innocence to knowledge was not a fall from grace, but a necessary step in human development. Their actions introduced humanity to the complexities of free will, the responsibility that comes with moral choices, and the capacity for self-awareness. This broader understanding shifts our view of human nature. We are not condemned to a life of sin, but are instead beings capable of reaching new heights of moral and spiritual awareness. Our struggles, rather than being evidence of our failings, become opportunities for growth and learning. We are called to engage with life's challenges as part of our spiritual evolution. One of the most profound aspects of this new interpretation is its potential to foster unity among different faiths and belief systems. By viewing the story of Adam and Eve as a universal narrative of human growth and spiritual awakening, we can find common ground with other spiritual traditions that emphasize personal transformation, moral responsibility, and the pursuit of enlightenment. Eastern philosophies like Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, also speak of spiritual evolution and the development of consciousness as central to the human experience. Indigenous traditions often emphasize the sacredness of personal and communal growth through cycles of life, death, and renewal. By recognizing Adam and Eve's story as a reflection of the universal human journey, we can build bridges between different spiritual traditions. This deeper interpretation allows us to appreciate the wisdom of other worldviews while affirming shared values such as growth, transformation, and moral responsibility. In a world often divided by religious conflict, this shared perspective could promote greater compassion, dialogue, and unity among different faiths. Furthermore, this new understanding invites us to rethink our relationship with the earth and creation itself. In traditional interpretations, Adam and Eve's role as caretakers of the Garden of Eden has been used to justify humanity's dominion over the natural world. However, when we view their story as part of a spiritual journey, we see that their relationship with the earth was not broken, but transformed. Their expulsion from Eden was not a severance from creation, but a call to engage with the world in new and meaningful ways. If Adam and Eve were tasked with tending the earth as part of their spiritual growth, then humanity's role as stewards of the planet takes on a deeper, more sacred significance. Our responsibility toward the environment becomes not just an ethical duty, but a spiritual calling. In caring for the earth, we fulfill our role as spiritual beings, recognizing that our connection to the natural world is an integral part of our own spiritual evolution. This perspective can inspire us to take urgent and meaningful action in addressing climate change, conservation, and the protection of ecosystems. In an age of environmental crisis, this interpretation of Adam and Eve's story can serve as a powerful reminder of our sacred responsibility toward the earth. It challenges us to see environmental stewardship as a divine mandate, calling us to care for creation as part of our spiritual journey. This vision has the potential to inspire individuals, communities, and nations to act with greater compassion and responsibility toward the planet and all its inhabitants. Ultimately, this philosophical re-examination of Adam and Eve's story offers a transformative vision for humanity. It invites us to move beyond the traditional narratives of guilt and sin and to embrace a more expansive understanding of our role in the world. We are not passive beings, condemned by a singular act of disobedience. Rather, we are active participants in a grand cosmic journey of spiritual evolution. Our lives are opportunities for growth, learning, and deeper connection with the divine. On a personal level, this new understanding empowers us to view our struggles and challenges as essential parts of our spiritual growth. It frees us from the weight of guilt and encourages us to embrace the fullness of our human experience. On a global scale, it challenges us to reconsider our role as caretakers of the earth and as members of a diverse, interconnected spiritual community. By embracing this deeper understanding of the Adam and Eve story, we can work toward a future that values personal growth, moral responsibility, and the sacredness of all life. 4. Why we must embrace the full truth of Adam and Eve. The story of Adam and Eve, when viewed through a philosophical lens, transcends the simplistic narrative of disobedience and punishment. It becomes a profound exploration of human potential, the dynamics of spiritual growth, and the complex nature of free will. This deeper interpretation compels us to recognize the duality within ourselves, the interplay of light and shadow, wisdom and consequence, as we navigate the path toward moral and spiritual awakening. To embrace the full truth of Adam and Eve is to liberate ourselves from the weight of guilt and shame imposed by traditional readings of their story, rather than seeing them, and, by extension, ourselves, as inherently flawed or condemned. We begin to understand humanity as beings on a continuous journey of growth, transformation, and connection with the divine. This reimagining shifts the focus from sin and failure to evolution and self-discovery, positioning us as active participants in the unfolding process of spiritual evolution. The significance of this truth extends beyond personal reflection. It offers a new framework for understanding our place in the world, our faith, and the shared journey of humanity. By acknowledging the complexities and contradictions of our existence, we can move forward with greater compassion, courage, and hope, knowing that our challenges are not marks of failure, but opportunities for growth. Adam and Eve's story, then, is not a relic of the past, but a timeless reflection of the human condition. It speaks to the essence of who we are, where we have come from, and where we are headed. By unveiling the deeper truths within this ancient narrative, we unlock the potential for transformation, both individually and collectively. This truth calls on us to walk the path of spiritual discovery with renewed purpose, embracing the fullness of our humanity and the divine potential that lies within us all.